Hey guys, due to my own experience recently, I wanted to share a baby or toddler fever advice that we have gathered over the internet through doctor's advice and through our own experiences. We find having a ear thermometer like this extremely useful. This was a baby shower gift. You can swap between Fahrenheit and centigrade by pressing this white button and the blue button at the same time, so it's kind of handy. It lasts ages and ages, and it's just really helpful. It goes in the ear, you press the button and then it beeps, and then within a couple of seconds you have a reading. Really accurate. I think there's new ones where you can go on the forehead, and I think when they go to a certain age you can use it on the forehead or under the arm, so it's really helpful. We always have these suppositories on hand, especially because our daughter, who is 2.5, she does not like to take the sweet syrupy medicine at all, so it's quite frustrating for us. Unfortunately, we have to use these little bullet shape wax way of delivering your medicine through the rectum. So we use Vaseline or lube just to help get it in there a bit easier. Put a little bit on the entry to the anus and a little bit on the actual wax suppository itself. So these are the packs. You open them up, they're white waxy things. Sometimes they have like a little seam on them, and I try just kind of scrape the seam off just to make it as pleasant as possible. These are the Nurofen ibuprofen ones that I just showed you. And then there's Paralink, which we also alternate with. This is the paracetemol. So that's Paralink, that's what we use. And there's the Paralink suppositories there. So they're a little bit bigger, but they're both very effective. It says on the packet 15 minutes, but we actually found that it takes a lot longer for her to come down, her temperature to come down. Recently she's had a viral, pretty bad viral infection. I don't know where it's come from. It's a virus, and it's quite keeps coming, persistent. The temperature will come down only by a degree or two. It goes up as high as 104. It has gone as high as that. And we've actually experienced our first febrile seizure. So luckily it was only very minor. She was asleep, and then when we walked in to check on her, her eyes were awake. Her pupils were dilated, and they were darting from left to right, and her tongue was kind of lax. She wasn't responding to being moved or spoken to. It was quite scary. It lasted about 2 minutes. Apparently these are very common in the first day of a viral infection, and it's not the height of the temperature that causes it, it's the rapid increase from low to high temperature that happens. And because the toddler's nervous system is still immature, it's the body's way of handling the high temperature. We were advised that if it did happen a second time, that we go straight down to the A&E or call an ambulance. So luckily it's really unlikely that she's going to have one of these again in this illness, and typically toddlers only have these type of seizures 2 or 3 times typically before they're 4, so that's lucky enough. And then after 4 the body tends to be able to handle it. What we found from previous experiences, to have one of those urine sample pouches that you stick onto the outside of the urethra of kids, and also try and get their little penis in it if they're a boy, and it helps catch the pee when they pee, and it sits in their nappy stuck on their bodies. It's a bit uncomfortable for them, but what we found is if Roisin is watching television or the iPad, she tends to stay still, and then over about half an hour we manage to catch enough urine for it to be able to be sampled. UTIs, urinary tract infections, are usually a really common cause of high temperatures, spiking temperatures in girls. So we had previously experienced in a hospital having to do this in a stressful environment, and we managed to get ourselves some of these pouches from a chemist, and it's much more relaxing to be able to catch the pee at home before going to a doctor's if you can. because the doctors make you wait with the child in the waiting room until they pee. So it's often better to just try and get it done at home and prophylactically do it, so that it's you have pee ready for the nurse the minute you walk in. So that's kind of really good advice. Much easier this time around than it was last time. Just checking my notes. When to go to hospital at this time around, we decided to not go to the hospital, even though she had a very minor seizure, because we just felt in ourselves it would be less stressful for us and for her to try to manage her temperature at home first, and then if it continued to increase and very little decrease, we just went to Swift Care in Dundrum, and that was quite good experience, and I'll do a review on Swift Care as well. But they saw her very fast and just gave her the advice of keeping the temperature down and using the suppositories, stripping her down. If necessary, get into a shower with her. I've done that before. It's really, really handy. And what I tend to do as well is get naked with her, and I tend to have her near me or on top of me, and then I take her heat because I'd be cooler, and that tends to bring her heat down, and that's a nice kind of relaxing way of getting her cool. Just trying to increase liquids. We got anything into her that we could. So cold ice creams. We just don't care about her diet. Unless, normally we do, but when she's sick, we just want to get her cold as fast as we can. So we had some ice cream, and then we were using a lot of milk, and she was eating okay, but we're trying to get her cool fast. So using liquids, not really keen on water at the moment or juice at the moment. All she wants is milk. So we're diluting her formula down and using cold water, not warming it up like we normally would, and she takes it, and it helps an awful lot bringing the temperature down. The advice we were given as well by the doctor in the Swift Care Clinic was make sure she has 4 wet nappies in 24 hours, and that tends to show that she's hydrated enough. And the key thing is to, regardless of if her temperature is kind of, if you think it's okay, I would still give her the Nurofen and the paracetemol religiously every 4 to 6 hours or every 6 to 8 hours, whatever the packet says. Just keep giving it to her. That's what we were doing all day yesterday, and just keeping on top of the temperature, just because it kept peaking and we were just not taking the risk anymore. The other thing, we've noticed that she's getting very kind of housebound and cabin fever. So if you can, invite her favourite family members over just to calmly be with her, not to play with her, but just to give her a bit of a change of face, and for you as well, it really helps. And we found there's some really good apps to track temperatures and to track when you gave her what liquids, just for your own self, to make yourself feel better that you're doing the right thing. And that because you're quite stressed during this period of time, so it's nice to be able to look back and go, okay, no, she has enough liquids. She was given her medication at this time. She's due with this next time. It's just easier because it's hard to keep your head clear when your baby has a fever, especially since it can lead to brain damage and all those things that you can read. So just trying to keep her temperature down and just keeping her calm is the main thing. So, hope you found that useful. Thanks.